regreso aquí en Auto 060 y ahora vamos con James O'Sullivan, el CEO de Mazda desde Pebble Beach en California. Well, Jim, thank you very much for having us here for the Mazda weekend here in Pebble Beach. Even though there's another event going on there,
yeah.
Concourse de Elegance, this is an event for Mazda at the track, at the Mazda Laguna Seca track, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great weekend up here, as you know. I mean, the thing has really grown to the point where it starts even the weekend before with the prehistorics, pre-reunion. And it has really grown into just a numerous number of venues and events that happen around the entire peninsula, basically starting here on Thursday. Obviously, there's Quail, there's the Italiano Concourse, which is separate. There's the Pebble Beach, obviously, d'Elegance, which is on Sunday. There's the Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, where we run basically almost 40 years of historic race cars in different classes. Yeah. And if anybody is into automotive, it is really one of the highlights of the entire year for anyone that's an automotive enthusiast. But we're glad to have you here.
And especially also for Mazda people. I mean, like the Mazda, the track is called Mazda,
yes.
And then you run your own cars there. I mean, some of your people, the people who work with you, run there.
Yes, what we end up running here is we have a number of our race cars that obviously we've run in the championship series. We have one of the cars that we've raced at Le Mans, not the winning car, but one of the cars that we've raced at Le Mans. So there's a lot of pedigree in terms of motorsports, which Mazda can do, because we really do have a really good pedigree of motorsports in our DNA, and have for many, many years. And our employees are the ones that drive the cars. They're enthusiasts themselves. They have their own race teams. They pay their own money for them. It's not factory sponsored, and so it's not racing for us is something that it's not a hobby. It's part of our business and part of what we do.
Yeah, it's in the passion. I mean, you can see it. I was there at the garage last year with Jeremy Barnes, and so people are like very competitive among each other. Huh?
No, they were banging fenders today, but they were out there running pretty heavily around the corkscrew and around Mazda Raceway. So
so let's go back to like the product part of it. We just drove in the 25th anniversary Miata, which is beautiful. So that huge success with that car. I mean, 25 years ago came in, and some people didn't believe it will last a long time, and here it is 25 years later. Understand, like, this special edition was sold like in 10 minutes?
Yeah, well, that's, the thing is, the MX-5 Miata for us, as you well know, most of the British sports cars basically exited that segment.
Yeah.
And no one in the world was building lightweight roadsters. And when we introduced the MX-5 Miata, I mean, to the world 25 years ago, there was a lot of doubters, but the commercial success, but the enthusiast success, even more importantly, has been fantastic for it. So 25th anniversary, great car, was sold out literally in a matter of a few minutes, because we're only going to build so many of them for the U.S. market. And what's really exciting, in a couple of weeks, back up here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, we will reveal the all-new next generation MX-5 Miata.
What generation is that?
It's going to be the next generation.
But like numbers or?
I can't quite call it, because I don't know. All I know is we're in the Guinness Book of World Records, though.
Okay.
Yeah. We're calling it like our sixth generation products. Yeah, is what we're basically calling Mazda 3, new Mazda 3, all new Mazda 6, all new CX-5, are kind of like sixth generation products. So this is one of the product cadence of our sixth generation.
Okay. So and all the other products are doing great. Like Mazda 3 was the finalist for World Car of the Year award last year in New York.
Yep.
Fell short in the voting, I guess.
Yeah.
But like a great car,
but up against some pretty formidable competitors.
Oh, I know.
And design, and last year with design, we take a look, design too. So yeah, I mean, we're punching above our weight a little bit. I mean, this is a car company that really challenges ourselves internally. I mean, there are things that maybe other car companies would do and just put it out in the marketplace, but for us, when we're over in Japan doing stuff, you can tell the engineers and designers will say, it's not zoom enough, or it doesn't drive zoom enough. We got to make sure that we do things that fit us, and certainly it's paid off in the commercial success of our vehicles, and our products are doing well in the marketplace.
Yeah. And also here in the North American market, you're expanding because you just started operations in Mexico recently.
Right. We just opened up in January of this year our brand new assembly plant from the ground up in Salamanca, Mexico. We're producing the all-new Mazda 3 four-door down there now. We'll be adding the all-new Mazda 2 later on this year. And we will be adding 2 shifts, and it's a pretty substantial footprint and a pretty big investment on behalf of the company, and the launch has been going very well so far. Quality is good, sourcing is good. So
and you talk a little bit about that Mexico. I mean, it's becoming like a really important country in terms of the global automotive industry.
Yeah, it really has been. And one of the things that really has made it that way, and I have to applaud the government in terms of their foresight, one of the things Mexico has now, it has more free trade agreements than any other country other than, I think, Israel's first, and then Mexico's number 2. So what it allows a manufacturer like Mazda to do is to build an assembly plant in Salamanca, Mexico, and basically be able to, as far as NAFTA, be able to bring vehicles into the U.S. and Canada, and at the same time period go into Central and South America, and in addition to that go to Europe with very limited tariffs or very limited barriers. So instead of manufacturing, let's say, in a given country where your industry-wide might be only 16 million, okay, and you're a 2% player, but then all of a sudden it opens up to 25 million units because you're opening up more countries.
Well, the world, basically.
Yeah, it basically provides a really good substantial footprint. And that's one of the reasons why I think that, in Mexico, you're really seeing the automotive industry really growing down there, not only from the standpoint of OEMs, but also from the supply base, because a lot of suppliers have gone down there with us. Now, granted, we're buying parts from the U.S. and bringing them into Mexico and buying some parts from Japan, and everyone's benefiting as a result of it. But the footprint down there has proved to be very good down there, and the quality of the work that everyone's seen is very good too.
Yeah, I want to touch a little bit more on that, because some people still believe that if it's not made in Japan or if it's not made in Germany, it's not the same car. But what's your experience like? It's been short now, but like what have you seen out of there?
The quality's been very good. I mean, remember, the manufacturing process is fairly standardized within Mazda internally around the globe. And what we ended up doing, we had a lot of workers that, before we started building cars in Salamanca, we flew them to Japan. And they worked on the assembly line with the workers in Hiroshima, trained them, foreman supervisors, and they came back and became trainers themselves. So a lot of that training in DNA, I mean, obviously what you end up doing is you end up layering into Salamanca, or if we're building a plant in Thailand, but those processes are implemented there, and a lot of the manufacturing techniques are there. So if you're able to standardize it, you're able to maintain the kind of quality levels that you can.
So people would not recognize a car difference?
No.
Made in Japan, made in Mexico, made in any other plants you have around the world?
No, they would not. Matter of fact, when we launched Mazda 2, for example, the all-new one, it'll be built in 3 assembly plants around the world. It'll be built in Japan, it'll be built in Thailand, and it'll be built in Salamanca, Mexico also. So you have to do that, and you've got to have those processes down, because like we're manufacturing in China and manufacturing in Thailand. We have a JV with a company in Russia, All Solars. We have one also going on in Malaysia. So the manufacturing footprint is expanding a little bit with JVs, but certainly our quality folks are pretty much on top of it. So.
Yeah, and also what has expanded a lot is competition. I mean, there's no bad cars anymore in the market, huh?
No, it's a competitive market, and that's the one thing that's important. Is let's face it, the quality level of the vehicles are extremely good for all the manufacturers. There's a couple nuances a little bit that get into things once in a while, but if you look at it overall, the quality level is very good. That's what makes it important for us, like a manufacturer like Mazda, is to stand out from the crowd. It's how you bend the sheet metal in terms of what we end up doing with design, with Dakota design.
You see it's a Mazda.
Yeah.
You see it from...
What we end up doing in terms of craftsmanship, what we end up doing in terms of providing real value to the customer, what we do from the standpoint of being able to technologically take ICE or internal combustion engines and push the envelope on them to provide great power and performance, but at the same time period, best-in-class fuel economy. But don't lose the DNA that Mazda is known for, which is great driving. So that's why it's important for us to stand out from the crowd, because there is a lot of great quality vehicles out there for consumers to select from.
That process that you were talking about, like more performance with less fuel consumption, is pretty much what is on your
Skyactiv technology.
That has been a hit for you guys.
Yeah, what it is, Skyactiv technology, it's not just a marketing word. What it is, it's an engineering philosophy that the company adopted internally, both from the standpoint of an R&D and product development, but also manufacturing. And an example of that is when we did Skyactiv technology, we started everything from a clean sheet of paper. When someone does a major new product launch, they might have a carryover engine or a carryover transmission. Well, when you have that, you have to compromise something, right, in terms of the crash or whatever. All the components got together, all the various disciplines, chassis, R&D in terms of engine, transmission, safety, everyone got together, and any compromise, they worked collectively as a team before they started building anything, so that way they basically didn't have any compromises in terms of how they might further be able to push the envelope. Remember, 2/3 of the energy that's still generated from an ICE internal combustion engine is wasted. And Mazda's philosophy is continue to harness that and transfer that into power, into performance for the automobile. So SkyActiv technology is something that's an engineering philosophy, but also from a manufacturing standpoint. I mean, we build 4-cylinder engines and turbo engines and all that stuff too on one assembly line, and diesel engines on one line in Hiroshima. So they broke that through too. So a lot of good things.
And that's why it has allowed you to stay competitive without touching hybrids and all the kind of things, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are pursuing hybrids, and we're looking at it. It's a building block strategy for us, because remember, 20 years from now, still 90% of the world will still be powered by ICEs, and even hybrids have ICEs, internal combustion engines, whether they're gasoline or diesel. So we're working on hybrid technology to help push that envelope a little bit further. But what we didn't want to have happen is we wanted all the Mazda customers to benefit from SkyActiv technology. Hybrids are only good for that one person that buys that one vehicle that's got hybrid technology. From CX-9 all the way through to Mazda 2, we're pushing the envelope on SkyActiv so all Mazda customers benefit, not just one.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much again for this great experience here. We just drove as I said, the 25th anniversary. Man, that was a great experience.
Coming up Highway 1. Oh, that's a beautiful.
So thank you very much again for that, and we're going to enjoy the whole weekend here with you.
Good. We'll look forward to it and get out to the racetrack.
Good luck there too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Beautiful.